Google Ads bidding strategies are at the core of your Google Ads account, and they can truly make or break your account to a certain degree. Yet many people don't know exactly how they work, what they do, and there are many misconceptions around bidding strategies. So in this video with 3 different parts, I will talk you through all these things, how to make best use of bidding strategies, understand them inside out, and make sure that you hit maximum profitability just by making sure that you use the right bidding strategy for your case. So without any further ado, let's get started. First of all, what we will cover in today's video are 3 parts, as I said. First of all, the truth behind bidding strategies. So how do they actually work? Then an overview on the different bidding strategies. I will keep that very short and to the point. And then make sure to watch until the end, because in the third part, I talk about how to pick your perfect bidding strategy for maximum profitability, or rather maximum performance in general. All right, so let's get started with the first part, the truth behind bidding strategies. Generally, bidding strategies determine how Google comes up with your bid to get someone to your site, okay? So that's all they do. Depending on which bidding strategy you use, Google just goes ahead and says, okay, someone searches for, I don't know, dog food, and based on that search query, we want to bid 20 cents, 50 cents, $1, $3, $10, whatever, for that particular click. But because you get hundreds or thousands of clicks per day, potentially, the bidding strategy, of course, is super important as it determines your price and ultimately also the conversion rate of your clicks and how relevant they are. Okay? Generally, there are 2 types of main bidding strategies, and these are automated bidding strategies, right? Where Google detects additional signals, like, for example, who is that person? How likely is that person to buy? Did that person buy before? Is that person comparing products for the past 2 weeks now already, right? So Google has all these signals that you cannot see, which makes these automated bidding strategies so powerful. And that results in Google determining for you whether you should spend like $5 on a click, or 30 cents, or 50 cents, or $1. And that's why sometimes when you use automated bidding strategies, you see some clicks costing $7 and other clicks costing 50 cents. That's exactly automated bidding at play. Google determines what the most important clicks are, the lowest hanging fruits. On the other hand, the second type of bidding strategy is manual. And with manual CPC or manual bidding strategy, you do everything manually. So you assign values to each campaign and each keyword, and you adjust that based on your experience and data. So if you know for a fact that desktop computers work a lot better on your site than mobile because it's not optimized, you can go ahead and you can assign a 50% 50% desktop bid adjustment to your campaign. Okay, because if you use a manual bidding strategy, Google won't look at those things and it will treat every single person the same. So you can already see automated does a lot of heavy lifting, but not only does it do the heavy lifting and taking away some of the micromanagement, it can also be a lot more effective because Google at this point knows so much about every single person out there. Okay. Cool, so let's look at the overview on the different bidding strategies and what the characteristics are before we then talk about which one you should use. So this is a little screenshot from our Google Ads Manager account. As you might know, we work with a lot of e-commerce brands and manage their Google Ads, and those are our biggest campaigns in terms of revenue. This is in euro, so what this means is it's probably 10% more than what you see here. So the biggest campaign that we have is about $4.5 million, $1.3 million, $1 million, $500,000. All that stuff. You see a very wide range of bidding strategies, but the ones that are most common are auto bidding strategies, and especially max conversion value and max conversions, right? So here, max conversion value, target ROAS, max conversion value with a target CPA, conversion value, target ROAS, conversion value, with some exceptions. So of course, we have many more campaigns making like 100,000. This is, by the way, a 90-day screenshot from the past 90 days. Okay, of course, we have many campaign examples making 100,000, 150,000, 200,000, and we also do use manual CPC. But what becomes very obvious here is that we rely quite heavily on automated bidding strategies. So with that being said, let's talk about the main bidding strategies for e-com, right? Because this is, of course, a video generally targeted towards e-commerce, but if you're not an e-commerce business, you should still be able to get some takeaways from that. Okay, the first important bidding strategy, in my opinion, is manual CPC. It's something where you should almost always start with. It's very easy to use if you have a fresh account, but I will talk about the real use cases in the third section, right? Which one you should pick for maximum performance. Generally speaking though, manual CPC is a pretty important bidding strategy that sooner or later every account uses. Then we have max conversion value / target ROAS. This is the other main bidding strategy for e-commerce, because unlike max conversion bidding or auto bidding other auto bidding in general, max conversion value or target ROAS takes the overall value of a basket of a purchase into account, right? And of course, you would rather have $1,000 purchase than a $20 purchase. So therefore, it's a very powerful bidding strategy. Those two, in my opinion, are the main bidding strategies that every e-commerce brand should have in their account. And most of the accounts that we work with, have one of the two or both in their accounts. Now we have some secondary bidding strategies. For example, max clicks. In my opinion, max clicks doesn't have many advantages over manual CPC, but you are a bit more restricted. You have a bit less options. So that's why I'm not quite sure, not quite sure. That's why I'm not using it as often as manual CPC, for example. Target impression share, it's a bidding strategy that more or less we only use for brand campaigns, or sometimes competitor campaigns, where we say that we want to have a certain number of we want to have a certain impression share, like 90% or 80%, because we want to defend ourselves, or we want to steal traffic away from the competitors. So you go ahead and you say what your target is, and Google tries to hit that target for you. Besides brand and competitor campaigns, doesn't have that many use cases. And then we have max conversions or target CPA. It's basically exactly the same as max conversion value, but with one fewer variable. And that is, it doesn't look into the value, but only at the number of conversions, which in an e-commerce context is not that helpful. It's great for lead gen, but for e-commerce, not that much. But I will talk about that in a second as well. So with that being said, let's actually look into the third and main section, how to pick your perfect bidding strategy for maximum performance. Okay, so with all the bidding strategies that we looked at now, we have this little table here of when to use that bidding strategy, the data that is required for that bidding strategy, because that's essentially the main thing that you have to keep in mind when choosing between bidding strategies, and then an overall rating from my end and from my experience, okay? So let's look at manual CPC. And with manual CPC, when can you use it? Well, you only, need basically every account can use it. You need a fresh account or very little data, which means less than 30 conversions, and you can definitely make use of it all the time. It is also useful, even though you have some conversions, when you are in a super specific niche. So for example, we have a client selling B2B products to like hospitals and things like that. Like think about HVAC, products like that. They sometimes cost $5,000, $6,000, $7,000. It's an e-commerce product, but it's so specific that we tend to rely on manual CPC more than on auto bidding strategies. As I said, it doesn't require any data, and I would give it a solid, half-star rating. Well, that's probably not the most intuitive rating system, but you get the idea. I give it a decent point because I think it just makes sense in the beginning. Every account in the beginning should, in my opinion, focus on manual CPC. Okay. Now, max clicks. That the use case for max clicks, it's not that clear to me, but it's to quickly gain clicks and to get like maximum traffic to a proven offer or a proven product. So if you know that you have a bestseller that has a crazy high conversion rate, no matter what the customer looks like behind the click, but from experience, you know that if you send 1,000 people to that offer, you make, 50 sales, right? Or something along those lines. It's all very proven, or you just want a lot of traffic very quickly. Sometimes also, for example, when you just have a 1 or 2 day sale and you just want to hammer out volume, then max clicks can be helpful too. You don't need any data for it either, but I would give it less points than manual CPC, just because to me, manual CPC has more flexibility. Max clicks doesn't have any conversion optimization, yet it is not as flexible as manual CPC either. So it sits somewhere in the middle without a clear benefit, in my opinion. But every now and then you can actually use it. Then we have target impression share. And as I said, that's for defending your brand terms in a brand campaign and for stealing away traffic from competitors. It can be pretty effective because you are going for maximum visibility, right? You say basically that you want to be on the search engine results page 90% of the time. And because in the brand campaign you have a very, very high click-through rate anyway, this can sometimes get you way cheaper clicks than all the other bidding strategies. So if you know that you have a good CTR and a good conversion rate, which in a brand campaign certainly is the case, then target impression share can get you some very cheap clicks, and it's, in my opinion, the best bidding strategy for that campaign type. Besides those, we are virtually never using it, with some very, very rare exceptions. Now we have max conversion value. And this is, in my opinion, the best strategy long term. So when I look across all our accounts, just as you have seen in the screenshot, with millions of dollars in combined revenue in those 90 days, most of our established campaigns with conversion data, learning data, and so on and so forth, they tend to use max conversion value. It requires more than 30 conversions a month, ideally. I would actually say more than 50, because you have this additional variable of revenue. You not only have the number of conversions, you also have revenue. And this gives Google an extra variable that they have to process. And this requires more data than all the other bidding strategies. Some people say even you need more than 100 conversions. Ideally, you even have those conversions within a single campaign, even though having conversions on the account level already helps, so you don't need 50 conversions in each and every campaign all the time, but you definitely need existing conversion data. This is ideal when you have a diverse set of products and price levels. In other words, most e-commerce brands sell more than just 3 products. Most e-commerce brands have products with a certain price range. And if that's the case for you as well, then max conversion value / target return on ad spend is your safest bet. It requires the maximum amount of data though, which is the biggest disadvantage here, but any somewhat established e-com business, every business is at a certain budget, certainly after 10,000 a month, most of the time about 5,000 a month, you can absolutely make great use of max conversion value or TROAS bidding. In my opinion, therefore, it's long-term the best bidding strategy out there for e-commerce, because most brands fall into that certain category right there. And now we have max conversion or target CPA bidding, which in my opinion is the second best bidding strategy. Now, it's the best bidding strategy in my opinion for single product stores or for stores that have products with just one very, very similar price range. Because on the one hand, it works exactly the same as TROAS max conversion value, but it has one less variable, only the conversion, not the value, which means from my experience and after numerous experiments and tests, whenever we use target CPA or max conversions, we tend to get results faster than with TROAS, just because Google learns faster and it needs less data, right? So if you have one product store, if you only sell a handful of products, if all your products have the same price point, if your average order value is more or less the same for every purchase, then it can be useful because you don't care about the revenue of each sale, right? It's not that one purchase is worth $30, the other one $200, and then 100, and then 12, and then 4,000 or something like that, which is why you want to use max conversion value. But if that's not the case, max conversions or target CPA can be super, super effective. In other words, in my opinion, manual CPC is the best bidding strategy to start with. Then max clicks in some rare cases, target impression share for your brand campaign, max conversion value long-term for the vast majority of all your campaigns in an e-com environment, and then max conversion if you meet that special criteria. Okay. Now a few words, last important points to notice, recap, but also some points that you have to keep in mind in general. You should use manual bidding early and then auto bidding later. There are some people that claim that manual bidding is still the way to go even in 2024. I disagree 90% of the time, right? We made the experience that in almost all cases, auto bidding works better, period. I know that there are some strategies like using max clicks and removing conversion goals from campaigns and forcing Google to spend without, the additional layers of variables. Yes, this can work, and we are trying and using it in some accounts as well. But for the most part, just use auto bidding at some point in time. Then use max clicks and manual CPC long term only with a good reason. As I said, you know that something will perform. You want to do a control test, or you want to just see if something specific has a chance to also perform good results. And then also make sure that your conversion tracking is as close to 100% accuracy as possible. Okay, many brands do not do that properly. They just set up their tracking once, they forget about it, and they assume that's working well. But when we do a deep dive, we see that 10% of conversions are not being tracked, or 5 or 15. Every single percentage point in conversion tracking is hugely important because it can mean a difference between you and your competitors. So it's something that whenever we do an audit of an account, we notice and we tell the owner hey, that is something that has to be fixed ASAP, or for our clients, we do it ourselves, right? We make sure that conversion tracking is as close to 100% as possible. Speaking of audits, if you have an e-commerce brand, and no worries, this is not an actual Google Ads account audit, you don't have to share your details with us. If you have an e-commerce account and you're interested in either us helping you with it or simply giving you a detailed game plan for free, a Google Ads profit roadmap, where I tell you specifically what it is that you should do to hit the next level with Google Ads, whether this is 100K per month or 500K per month or more. I will give you a set of campaign tactics, strategies, how to break through this invisible ceiling, how to make sure that you can spend more if you're struggling to scale, and so on and so forth. It's a Loom video that I will make just for you, so make sure to check the link in the description if that's interesting for you. And then you can either take it and use it, or if you like, work with us so that we handle your Google Ads so that you can focus on the rest of your business and your brand. I hope this video was helpful. If it was, please leave a like, please subscribe, and let me know in the comments which bidding strategy you are using the most. I look forward to see you in the next video again. Thank you very much, and bye-bye.